Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. We did it. We made it. We got through the group stages of Euro 2020. We've arrived at good old-fashioned knockout football. Quick question, Tom. Why is it called the last 16? Don't answer that. There's no time. We've got to jump into the very first game here. It is Wales versus Denmark.
First game of the Euro 2020 quinceañera, we have Wales versus Denmark, a truly just mean game because I think both these teams are like the epitome of team spirit sides. Like both of them, you know, Wales are a tiny country with two world-class players and everyone else is just trying to keep the team together. Denmark obviously went through everything with Christian Eriksen and have gone through with flying colors, just incredible results on their part and so much fortitude to keep going. And I want them both to win. Is that an option?
I'm afraid there is not an option there, Tom. I've just had a quick peek, and one of these sides is going to go through. Denmark don't have the Danish fans. Well, they will have them behind them, but they won't. It's not being played in Denmark. It's being played in Holland, so they won't have that amazing Copenhagen crowd, which roared them to victory against Russia in that final game. And yeah, as you said they really have hit rock. They did hit rock bottom, and they came back, scored some wonderful goals, played some great football. But Wales they are just the road runner, aren't they? They just don't go down. You just can't stop them. And when you look at their team, I mean, even starting with like Rob Page, you're like, who the hell is this guy? I mean, you thought the story at the start would be about notorious sex pest Brian Giggs and all that, but not to be. The players have stolen those headlines away, and but like Ward in goal, he's not played a game for 4 years in the Premier. He's been a sub keeper and not played a game, not played a league game. Gunter plays in League One. You got Allen, he's basically not played all season because of an injury. Bale hasn't really played that much. Ramsey's probably the one that's played the most, but he's in and out. James is a fringe player, so the ability that they've got, he is, isn't he? He's not.
No, he is. I just haven't thought of the team in these ways.
When you look at the players they've got, you're like, they have no right to have done as well as they have. So absolute credit to them. But I do think Denmark are one of the even without Christian Eriksen, I think they're one of the trickiest sides to play. I thought they'd be a side you'd want to avoid in the knockouts, but it's a 50-50 call. I think this one.
It's nuts. I don't think this game is going to come down to style of play or one manager outdoing the other ones. And I'm not a nutritional slog, but it's going to be a slog. Both sides are going to work really hard for the ball. You can't let Gareth Bale or Aaron Ramsey have more than about 3 seconds on it because they're just going to pick the other one out on an overlapping forward run. With Denmark that they're all very skilled, very technical players. Again, they can cut you open if they need to. Ian, I think I'm going to let you do the prediction first because I'm on a fence right now.
I mean, they both play very similar styles. They both got Denmark will try and get it long to Poulsen and play off him. Wales will try and get it long to Kiefer Moore, play off him, who, by the way, is a championship striker, by the way. And then they'll look to like Bale and Ramsey to get by him. I think this is going to extra time. I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw in normal time, and I think Denmark nick it 2-1. As much as that'll crush Wales, I just really think Denmark have got the bit between their teeth in this one. 2-1 Denmark in extra time.
Got to do it, Ian. I've got to go against you in that case. This has nothing to do with logic. This is a purely biased decision based on the fact that I don't want you to be right. So 2-1 to Wales. It's happening.
Screwing
Football's
me already.
coming home.
You can already see, look, if you just look at the chart on the screen, you can already see Tom's winning by 30 points to 26, but you can see why, because he puts my predictions in wrong. I clearly said Denmark will win 2-1 after extra time. He puts Denmark penalties 1-1 draw. Italy versus Austria.
Okay, Italy have been sensational. They scored 7 goals in the group stages. They were absolutely fantastic. Wales did well to keep it to 1, but they have the thing is, irrespective of the teams they played, what's impressed me most about Italy is how free-flowing they are attacking. They've taken the Napoli, Atalanta, Leeds, if you will, mold of just like, when we attack, especially that forward 3, drive. And then the midfielders are coming through as well and providing that support, and they're overloading the box. And you saw it like the Locatelli brace. you get that many players in the box, you just are going to keep getting these tap-in goals, and it's all one fluid movement. They're not cutting the ball back. They're not moving it around. When they get the ball, it's as fast as you can get it to a striker in the box. And it's been so much fun to watch them. Bonucci, every single time he makes a tackle, is cheering it on. They're Italian. Tactically, they're on point the entire time. I mean, they are a well-drilled side. Mancini, it doesn't matter who he rotates in and out. They stick to the same formation. And Austria play football.
He made a lot of changes, didn't he, Mancini? But it didn't really seem to stop their style. But I reckon a lot of those players will come back in. Maybe Verratti plays instead of Barella, but Barella was pretty good in the games. And imagine like everybody else who was playing in the first two games that didn't play in that final one, I imagine will come back in. Chiellini will probably be rested. But the biggest thing is, like, Austria, they've just got no weapons really to hurt this Italian side. They've got no real pace unless like Alaba does something amazing, which he's not really that sort of player. Or convicted racist Marko Arnautovic does something outstanding. But again, you know, even if they get one, you'd back Italy to get 2 or 3 goals in this one. Austria's style of play is very slow. Passing the ball around in front of the back four. They haven't really got many runners that run beyond, and they'll try and just defend, but they couldn't do that against Holland. I don't think they'll be able to do that against Italy. Thomas, hit me with your prediction.
3-0 to the Italians.
Yeah, they're not conceding a goal, and they're going to win 3-0. We're both agreeing on this one. Vive l'Italie. But
Forza Italia, Lorenzo told me.
No, I think I got it right.
Okay. Die Nederland versus Czech Republic.
This should be an interesting game, but I just, you know, the Dutch have been really good in the 3 games they've played. I mean, you've touched on it a lot, that when Holland are playing exciting, enterprising football, it's good for world football. And that's certainly what they've done, despite having the worst manager in the world. For me, the Czechs have got worse as the tournament's gone on. They had a really good result against Scotland. They kind of just hung on against Croatia, and against England they just kind of just accepted the fact they were going to lose 1-0 and didn't really try.
I thought they were poor.
They were really poor. And unless, again, what we talked about with Austria, you don't see a lot of weapons that the Czechs can really hurt the Dutch with, really, in this one.
No, I mean, you look at the Croatian result, and that penalty still stands out as one of those ones where I still don't know why they were given it, and that there have now been a couple of those, but that's how they got that result. And then they were steadfast in sitting back. They did well, I suppose you could say, against England to keep them to 1 goal. Just in the first 20 minutes, it looked like England could have had a hat, but then they didn't try.
Yeah, but I mean, it hasn't really it hasn't really helped. Really, I mean, they would have. I guess if they'd have won the group, they would have played Germany, and by coming second, they would have played Spain, and coming third, they would have played Holland. So it's not. I guess it was a tough one for them, no matter who they played. But Tom, tell me how the Dutch are going to tear them apart.
I actually do think they're going to rip them to shreds. Wijnaldum looks absolutely fantastic. It makes you wonder why Liverpool want to get rid of him, but let's not question the mighty Jurgen Klopp. He is a savant.
Different player. He's a different player when he plays for Holland.
We'll add him to the list of players.
Well, Liverpool play him further back, and he doesn't seem to impact the games as much as when he plays for Holland.
Well, yeah, but you know, that's like saying that doesn't matter. Netherlands look really good. Depay looks so much better for Holland than he ever did for Man United, and I will continually refer to his time at Man United until the day he retires. But I think they're going to do what they do. They're going to play total football. They're going to overload the box. They're going to cut through the middle if they need to. And they're just going to rip this Czech Republic team apart, because I've not seen the Czech Republic outside of the first game give anything that would give them a win. There's going to be 60,000 fans. I think it's going to be a nuts match. I'll let you go first with your prediction, though, Ian.
Yeah, well, this one's going to be, I mean, again, it's Holland. They're not playing the game in Amsterdam, so it is going to be like away from no home advantage for them, but I don't think it will make much of a difference. I think Holland might bring Weghorst back in for this one, because the main threat, Czech Republic, probably do have his set pieces, and he can certainly help them out with defending set pieces as well. Holland, I just think they'll be nice and easy, like what they did to Austria. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Netherlands win.
I am going to go for a 3-1 Netherlands victory.
Now we've reached something tasty, Thomas. Now we've reached something exciting. It's Belgium versus Portugal.
It's the final we all wanted. We're so excited to see the final happening here in Sevilla between No, it's not. It's the round of 16, and the round of 16 has thrown up a match I think we all kind of wanted later on. But Belgium and Portugal is going to be absolutely fantastic. Portugal have scraped through after a 2-2 draw with France. Belgium were incredibly impressive, but were not challenged at all in the group stages, Ian.
Yeah, they were. I'd say they were a bit against Denmark. Denmark pushed them a bit. Gave them a hard. It wasn't an easy game for them, and they came through it. One thing we talked about before the tournament was Belgium might be a bit weak and a bit old at the back, and they're certainly going to be tested by this Portugal front line with whoever number of players they play. Being a Man United fan, Tom, do you think that Bruno will be back in for this one?
I was absolutely furious that he was in the starting lineup. I threw a beer at the TV screen. I think that's the video I showed you of it. I can't understand it. Whoever this manager is doesn't know what he's doing. I think he made the correct call to play less attacking players and play more holding players against the French team. And I think every now and then when France attacked, it actually paid out, because it felt like the golden handshake had been done pre-game, but then the game got quite exciting in the middle part. But they were able to kind of contain the middle of the pitch and force all the attacks out wide, which meant there were crosses, but they weren't giving up shots inside the box. They weren't letting Mbappe or Benzema find tons of space in the area. And I think they'll probably do that again. But I'd be really let down if Bruno Fernandes doesn't play in this game, because Bruno Fernandes versus Kevin De Bruyne is kind of what we all want to see, isn't it? We want to see De Bruyne giving balls to Lukaku. We want to see Fernandes giving balls to Ronaldo, and we want to see goals. And this game truly has goals written all over it because neither side can defend.
You think you'd need him as well. I know he hasn't had the great tournament so far, but I think you'd need him for this game.
It's because of their style of play. They play so many players back. It's like it's baffling because they have Ruben Diaz and Pepe in the back, who are pretty good center backs. Pepe, even at his age. Rui Patricio he had so many saves this evening. It was incredible. And then up front, you just have this insane level of attacking talent. You're just like, how do you not fit Bruno in behind Ronaldo and company? Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva, and whichever one of the 9 other attackers you have next to him.
Is that Vincent Company?
Yes. Yeah, he's an insane winger now. He actually got faster as he got older.
Quick word on Ronnie. 5 goals, tops the goal scoring chart, much to my annoyance. Hopefully Lukaku will put that right.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's 4 penalties and a goal from open play, right? I mean, he is Harry Kaning his way to a golden boot right now. It's sensational. But he also...
One's got to hit his heel and fly up in the air and go in the top corner for it.
In this game, I was impressed at the amount of fouls he drew. France did not give him time on the ball, and for the first time in a while, he kind of just put himself in the firing line and got nailed to the ground about 10 different times. But that's what he used to do in games. That's what we want That's what we want Jack Grealish doing for England. He's that sort of player that whenever he gets the ball, he's so fast, he's gonna get fouled. And he's had a really good tournament. Like, genuinely, I think he probably will end as top scorer, even if he only gets a goal here and they go out. I mean,
this is the game, isn't it? If he goes out here, he might not. If they get through this one, then he probably will. Belgium are going to dictate the pace in this game, though, for me. Portugal are going to sit back. From what I've seen, they like to sit back and play counter-attack as much as they can. And De Bruyne is going to dictate the pace of the game for Belgium. Lukaku's going to try and be a huge menace up against Pepe and Diaz up front. And they're going to have to deal with a striker. I don't think there's a striker like Lukaku in this tournament. Just an absolute beast.
No, but I do think Diaz and Pepe will be the first time someone's actually properly good enough to contain him. I say what you want about Denmark, they work hard and stuff, but you're looking at the goals that Lukaku scored in this tournament, especially the other 2 teams, and it's like he just pins his defender and then turns left or right and hits it as hard as he can. If he's able to do that against Diaz and Pepe, then they've completely, like, Pepe's just going to floor him. Pepe's going to trip him. Pepe's going to headbutt him. Pepe's going to do everything he can to get in his head, and Pepe is so good with his positional sense. I don't think Lukaku is going to be able to pin him 12 yards out of goal at all. And if he does, that may just slide out.
I think Lukaku, from what I've seen, I mean, Lukaku's played in Serie A for a couple of seasons now, so he knows kind of a bit more of the dark arts of football.
The goals aren't going to be easy. Lukaku getting a goal here is going to be a lot harder than it's looked for him to this point in the tournament.
It might be.
Then,
I think Belgium will fancy their chances of getting a few goals against this Portugal defence, which I don't think's looked that great, especially the way Germany cut through them with ease.
I think there's 5 goals in this game, Ian.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this one too. And because I have Lukaku to win the Golden Boot, I'm of course going to be leaning towards Belgium. And of course, because I have family in Belgium as well, Thomas, so I have to lean there as well. Let's go for... I think I know what you're going to do. I'm going to go for a 3-2 Red Devils win.
I'm going for a 2-3 Portugal win.
I thought you might do that.
Right, Ian, we're going to take a little break here, and I just need to thank all of our Patreon backers. Thank you, Christina Allen, Robert Allen, Matthew Bowden, and PJ Simpson, and to everyone else that's followed us. Please, if you're enjoying this, have a look on the screen, have a look down below. All the details are there. You can join for as little as £1 a month, and it really does help support the channel. But no matter what, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, watch the whole video, and comment below. And now, without further gilding of any lilies, we move on to the game we've all been waiting for. Croatia versus Spain.
Exactly, Thomas. Exactly. We've all been waiting for this one. It's a game we didn't think we would get, though. I mean, it's one of those ones, of all the permutations, I don't think many people threw up Spain versus Croatia as a second round tie. And it really sort of came around as kind of Slovakia decided just to give up and not play anymore.
What happened? I'm sorry, we have to do this quickly. What is Martin Dubravka doing?
Yeah. I mean, look, Spain...
the worst goalkeeping error I've seen in a while.
Spain got the win 5-0 against Slovakia, and they racked up the goals eventually, despite missing another penalty. But it did, as Tom says, it did come about from some horrific goalkeeping at the start, and even the second goal he's not done very well, although it was a good header by
defending. And the defending that followed,
and they just got destroyed. But on the flip, so we talked about Czech Republic, how they've kind of gone backwards. Croatia seem to be getting stronger as the tournament goes on, and they're putting in better performances. You do pull that face, but I think that was a tough game against Scotland, and they really just put in a really clinical performance against. Remember, that was in Scotland as well. So and I know.
Yeah.
Look, we've seen what the Hungarian fans, what difference that makes to a side. And, Scotland fans would have been really up for that one. And Croatia didn't let them have the ball, scored some great goals. Modric's goal is a worldie.
Yeah.
Any given game of football, that is a stunning goal by Modric and shows that he's still got it. I think this game's going to be extremely attritional.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was giving you that face just because, it's great that Scotland are in this competition, etc., but they have one good, possibly world-class player, and outside of that, they're just a series of pieces. And this Croatian side,
I agree with you.
They do have so much talent, and they have so much pedigree, and they have Champions League winners, they have World Cup finalists in them. The thing I'm not sold on is Spain's ability to score goals if it's not given to them. They scored a bunch. Yeah, they scored 5. But it felt like Slovakia had just threw the towel in. There was very little of oh, that was an incredible goal, and a lot more of are any of you planning on defending? Or is the goalkeeper planning on actually... No, okay, cool. And I don't see a lot of goals in this game. I think this is going to be a 1-0 to one of these teams, personally.
Two sides that will very much cancel each other out. You'll have both of them will have extremely lengthy to dull periods in possession, where if you thought England passed the ball slowly along the back four, you will see that to another level, I'm sure, between Croatia and Spain. As much as they tell us Spain are different now and they play with a lot of pace and purpose, I'm yet to really see it. I think this one could go all the way to penalties, and from what I've seen of Spain taking penalties, I can't back them at all. So I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw and Croatia to go through on pens.
Right, and can you just confirm I put in your score correctly?
You have.
Yeah. I'm going for a 1-0 Croatia victory.
And I am very aware to anyone listening to that, you wouldn't have understood a good minute of us where we just talked over each other, but I don't like Tom talking bad about Scotland.
No, I know you don't. You love Andy Robertson and Paul Tierney.
France versus... Say it, Thomas.
France. Ugh. The French get to play their close banking neighbors, Switzerland, France. And I think everyone thinks that this is where France think their tournament starts. They have not got out of third gear. They barely got out of third gear against Portugal. Every time they were losing, like, boys, come on, let's pick up the pace. And they go and got their 2 goals. And then they just went, yep, cool, right, phone it back in. We don't need to worry about this. We're through the next round. And I think this is where France might score 5 goals, personally. I think they're going to blitzkrieg this Swiss side.
It really felt like it, even though it was like the toughest group, and they had to play. They've already arguably played 2 World Cup, European Cup finals, World Cup finals, Euros finals already. I think they've been quite dull, and there's so much more to come. There's so much potential. There's still a reason why we were, as much as we didn't want to play Germany and Portugal, we were even more scared about playing France, because you just know that they are probably the best side in the world. Switzerland have turned up for like 1.5 games so far in this tournament. When they played a decent side in Italy, they were ripped to shreds. And I don't see them really being able to contain France for very long. I mean, the only thing is, I'd say, and I'm just going to say it, I know he scored two goals today, but do you think there's any chance that they put Giroud back in? Because they do seem to play better with him in the team.
I mean, I would much prefer them to play with Giroud there, because Benzema, what he did at Real Madrid, I don't think he's ever going to be willing to do again. I think at Real Madrid, he was willing to be like, all right, Ronaldo gets the goals. That's his job. That's why he's here. He's not a foil at France. He's the striker. Giroud has always been a foil. He's always been happy to be a foil. He loves playing the ball to Griezmann, setting Griezmann up for goals, setting Mbappe up for goals, pinging the ball back to Pogba for, like, that's what he does. And he holds the ball up better than Benzema did. Now, Benzema got those 2 goals, and they were good goals. But I think teams that have Giroud in them tend to play better, and they play a football style that seems... it fits him. He's so good at providing things for his teammates. And he also does tend to get goals when he's in these sides. But he's out of favour. Yeah, Giroud. But he's out of favour.
I don't agree with that last statement. He never scores goals.
What was it you texted me earlier today when Benzema scored his penalty?
Yeah, Giroud would have missed it. Yeah. he would have been the last one there to take it. But yeah, I do agree, though. They do... especially Mbappe, he's more in the game when Giroud plays, which is massive. I think again, you're relying on a bit of magic from Shaquiri. Again, he scored a great goal in the win that they needed over, I forget which team it was now. It's such a long time ago. Which team was it? Who did they beat?
Switzerland, France played. Wait, what am I agree?
They played Turkey. Over Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
God, it seems such a long time ago now. And they're solid, but France are going to win. I'm going to just... Oh, no, I'll let you go first. You said you're going to rack up some goals in this one.
Yeah, I think France will win 3-0. I think they're going to run out easy winners. I don't think that Didier Deschamps will want them to score 5 or 6, because if they score 5 or 6, you just kind of fear they've scored too many goals in one game, and the next match is going to be a lot harder for them. I think it should be a complete victory on their part.
I agree. I was going to go one less. I think it'll be 2-0. I think they'll really toy with the Swiss.
Yeah. Sweden versus Ukraine.
Okay, folks. Go get yourself a nice comfy pillow. Come back and join us, because this is going to be a 45-minute, almost like odyssey towards these 2 quality sides. This is going to be war and peace about Sweden and Ukraine. What a tie that Euro 2020 has thrown up here, Thomas. What can you... It's difficult to come up with new things to say about this side, because everything has been written in every football book about how the beautiful game should be played.
I think Belgium and Portugal are both spitting blood tonight looking at how this tie has come about. Like,
and England and Germany. It's like... Oh, what, is it a secret?
We're the 4th ranked team in the world, brother. We can beat anyone on our day.
I would just say, if you win a group and you, in this case of Belgium, play Portugal, in the case of England, play Germany, you look at this tie and you're like, yeah, something's not quite right with this draw. Although, to be fair, Sweden did win their group, so, what can you do?
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great, but it's good.
You were impressed with Ukraine in the first game, though, but they're a side that just struggled.
Got worse.
Yeah, they definitely got worse. And in
worse.
their game against Austria, they just really looked like the game was too much for them. They looked, the pressure just got to them. They never got going in that match.
I thought the Austria game was like a given for the Ukraine. They played really well. Yarmolenko was on this insane goal streak. They were creating chances, and I thought that everything about them looked good. And then that Austria match happened, and that's why I'm sat here like, I don't know who's going to turn up. And they're playing a team that's going to put 11 men behind the ball, that's going to defend really heavily. They have shown that they can try and score goals, but it's not incisive. It's slow. It's slow build up. They like set pieces. They really like trying to get Forsberg the ball from like 18 yards away and just let him try and hit a shot. Like, this does not have classic written anywhere on it. So we put it in Scotland because that's where it should be.
Yeah, it's naive, wasn't they, a bit Ukraine? A bit young, a side that's not used to playing tournament football, and Austria probably a bit more with all those kind of guys that play in the Bundesliga. They just really made the game difficult and won it through a set piece. And Sweden will do very much the same here. They've got some decent players that are outlets. I mean, Forsberg scored a couple of really nice goals in the game, and Larsson's a decent player. We know Lindelof's a decent player. Isak's looked good, and I'm surprised Quaison hasn't played more, but maybe he will from now on. And I have a feeling that Sweden are going to find themselves in another quarterfinals.
Just give your score prediction.
You know what I'm going to do. 1-0 Sweden.
Yep. I am going to mimic that score, and we are going to move on.
Although, I will just say, I would prefer Ukraine to go through, because I do see there'd be a lot more exciting in playing against a side like how they played against the Netherlands. But that is by the by, and all these other games, certainly from mine and Thomas's perspective, really don't mean anything when it comes down to this classic football fixture. That's right. It's time for the main event.
The Three Lions of England versus the Fatherland, Germany.
Germany may have had the better of England in many, many of the tournaments since 1966. I think, in fact, the 4 times we've played them in knockout football since 1966, Germany have won all 4 of those games. But what can possibly go wrong? And surely they've never faced the tactical nous or the quality of Gareth Southgate.
Trackless Gareth Southgate. And Kante saved
Oh.
Whoops. Ian, I went through an emotional roller coaster this evening. I'm watching this crazy France-Portugal game, and both sides are getting quite into it. I'm like, oh, cool, France are winning. France are top of the group. Portugal could be dropping out right now. And then the score kind of flashes up, and it's like, oh, Hungary are winning. But does that put Hungary second in the group? And at halftime, Hungary are still winning the game. And then in like the 50th minute, Germany go up the other pitch and equalize, and everyone in the pub goes nuts. We're like, oh, for God's... And then the commentator just goes, oh, but actually this just happened to kick off. And Hungary have gone up the other end and scored. France are winning, and everyone is just like, oh my God, we've got Hungary. Oh my God, we've done it. We've actually done the right thing. We've topped the group, and we got fucking Hungary. This is oh God, they scored. And right when it started to feel real, fucking Germany scored.
It felt like, look, I'm well into my kind of like parallel universes and alternate realities. I don't think there's a single one where England play a different opponent other than Germany in the second round of this tournament. It is like a fixed point in the universe that cannot be changed no matter what happens. Yes, and it leads you to one of those things as well. Look, England, I don't know why they're not getting all the same kind of plaudits that Italy are getting, because we've played 3 games and we haven't conceded a goal, Tom.
It's the only plaudit we are getting is how insanely good defensively we are, isn't it? Like, what a fantastic side to watching England play. is like watching Italy in 1996. It's just fantastic.
We've got a forward that's in the goals, Raheem Sterling.
Yeah,
You're a big fan.
Huge fan, my favorite player.
But look, the biggest thing is this is what we talked about before the start of the tournament. Is we talked about there was a very good chance that England would win their group and play one of these big three sides that were in Group F. It's happened, and this is the biggest test for England now. They're a good side, they've got good players, but time and time again, whenever we've come up against anyone decent in world football, we never seem to be able to get the job done. So, do you think that there's any way that England can overcome that and beat the Germans?
Let me first state, Ian, that on this channel, we never show weakness. So my prediction is not going to match any of the words that come out of my mouth here. Absolutely not. We are going to get steamrollered, blitzkrieged, and owned. This German side, as much as that Hungary result was a bit of an anomaly, are way too good. And we are definitely going to throw like 4 or 5 defenders out there and 2 or 3 holding mids, and we're going to put Harry Kane in that striker and then tell him to drop deep because the midfield need help. And we're definitely not going to pay the only world-class player we have anymore in Jack Grealish, and we're just going to limp out of this tournament. And you know what? We're going to give Gareth Southgate a new 4-year contract in exchange.
Do you really think we're going to get hammered?
Yeah.
Really?
I watched Germany versus Portugal. And Portugal did what I think England are going to do. They sat really deep and went, we're going to absorb German pressure. And the Germans went, really? Because, like, this is what we do. Like, we ratchet up. If gear 1 doesn't work, we go to gear 2. If gear 2 doesn't work, we go to gear 3. You have to attack a German side. You have to actually try and beat them, because they will just exert more and more pressure and crank until Ruben Diaz, the best defender in the world right now, apparently, scores an own goal. And, like, they manhandled Portugal. They absolutely destroyed them because Portugal just kept sitting back. And Portugal can counterattack. And Portugal got 2 counterattacking goals. I haven't seen England counterattack in this tournament. If you have, please let me know. I just literally haven't seen counterattacking football at all.
I think England, I'm not confident England can win, but I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a hammering like what we saw like World Cup 2010, where they absolutely just killed us. Really think it's going to be 4-1?
No, because I can't show weakness. But
but regardless of what you put on the predictions, is that what you really think is going to be on? You really think it's going to be a real hiding?
I think Germany could beat us 3-0.
Okay, I do think that Gareth Southgate's going to match him up. I think he's going to match him up with with playing wing backs, 3 centre backs. I think he's going to play Rice and Henderson in the middle, and then it's one of the 3. I have a feeling, I don't know why, I have a feeling that Grealish doesn't start.
He's not good enough, because clearly he's just not a good enough footballer.
He's getting all salty now, isn't he? Look, I have a feeling that Grealish isn't going to start. I don't agree with that decision. I have a feeling he's going to play Sterling, he's going to play Kane, and I think the other player he's going to play is Saka, unless he plays Saka as a wing back, and he might play Grealish up top then, but he's probably more likely to put Foden back in than play Grealish. I don't agree with that, but I just think that's what he's going to do. And look, let's look at the positives here. We have looked pretty decent at the back. Pickford's looked in pretty good form, and I'm kind of clutching at straws with anything else. And we're at Wembley, and there's going to be 40,000 fans there, which hopefully, although Germany won't be overawed by that, it should give our players a bit of a lift.
I actually worry that will feed Germany when we're better with no fans, because I just feel like they want to be the bad guys. They've done it for over 100 years. They love being the bad guys.
Name me one example in world history where Germany have been the bad guys. Name me 2 examples. You can't do it. There you go. And I think I think for Germany, I think without a shadow of a doubt, Muller comes back in and plays in this game. He is going to torment English defenders. I think if England have got to stop Goossens from running at them from the sides, Kai Havertz has looked great. He's going to cause England a lot of problems as well, as is Gnabry. Weirdly, we haven't seen Werner at all in this tournament. Just completely out of favour by Joachim Low. But I do think England could potentially cause Germany some problems at the back, and it only does take Harry Kane to find where the goal is again, and hopefully England might get a couple of goals in this one.
There are so many ways England can win this game. It's not just Jack Grealish. Like the Jack Grealish thing is just the definition.
So talk about them rather than sitting like a little pissy girl talking about how we're going to go out.
If we sit and play five defenders essentially, and we put 2 holding mids, we can't beat this German side. But if we put a back 4 if we put a back 4 out and you put Luke Shaw on the left, yes, of just Harry Kane. But if you put Trippier on the right and Shaw on the left, and it's going to be Maguire and Stones, clearly that's the only option we have. And then you just put Henderson in front of them, just Henderson, or just Rice, and you play an actual midfield in front of them, and you can get Mason Mount involved, and you can get Jack Grealish involved, and you can get Foden involved, and you can get these players that are insanely creative on the pitch at the same time, and just be like, we're done. We're done with this dumbass conservative play. Go out there and beat them at football. Like, outplay them. We know we can control the ball. We know we can pass the ball better than a lot of countries, but we do it so slowly because we're so dead set on not giving it away. Just attack. Every time you get the ball, hit the wings if you can. Drive forward. Harry Kane, if you get off the shoulder of the last defender at all, I will punch you. That's where you live now. You live in the box. That's what England need to do. They need to go at Germany, and they need to go for the jugular, and they need to beat Germany they need to score 2 or 3 goals and assert themselves in the match, but they won't do it.
It's weird.
That's what makes me sad.
Weird that we got all these quality players, and this isn't really any dig against like any Jack Grealish or anything like that, because he does this too. Isn't it weird how it takes like a 19-year-old, 18-year-old Saka in the 3rd game to all of a sudden just think, if I take this guy on, I can run up the pitch like 25 yards with a ball. And like, just simple. What a simple, like, how simple did he make the game? But how much better did England look because of it?
Yeah.
It is crazy.
100%.
But, right. Here we go then. Do you want to lead off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is very biased opinion, so we'd never show weakness. Both of us, I think, have shown weakness once this season, and both times we chastise each other for it. So I shall not show any weakness. England to beat the other old enemy 2-0.
Yeah, we did so well the last time we played our rivals at Wembley. Let's hope it's a level. Let's hope we play to the level of the did against Scotland. Let's hope they can get up to it.
Goals.
Germany will score for sure. England 2-1.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, you have it. Thank you all for watching this. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you if you clicked like. If you haven't clicked like, please go below. Click like. Comment below. We want to know all your scores. At some point, I'll actually get to all of them. Stay strong. It's only a week away. England versus Germany. We've got some really exciting ties, and we will see you for the quarterfinals.